Um, so there was always this notion, and I never dove too much into it. The owners, the Saputos. What is the
Saputo. Not,
Saputo?
yeah, Saputo.
Saputo with a T. Okay.
Yes, with a
I think
T.
I typed it with a D accidentally.
You
Yeah, I
did.
did.
I fixed it in my notes.
Oh, my bad.
It's all good.
What is the vibe about them? I know that there was this rumor when I was doing a little bit of research that he was trying to move the team to the United, like he threatened to move them.
Yeah, it was
what
a threat.
That all about?
Okay, here's the deal. Joey Saputo loves his club. It's his baby. It's like his baby girl, right? And he used to be the president. He's not anymore. He's taking a step back. But he would get so emotional. He would make emotional decisions, emotional statements. He would fire people on a whim. You know, like they fired Jesse Marsh, which is probably the biggest mistake that this club has ever made. If you look at where he is now, I thought like we finished the season 3 points out of a playoff spot in our expansion year. You know,
Yep.
What more do you want? But they had a clash of philosophy. He wanted to play maybe a bit more north-south, where they were looking to play a bit more of Italian counter-attacking style. That's what they envisioned. So he'd make emotional statements. I remember also when Piatti was up for contract negotiations, he just randomly showed up halftime on the halftime show, and he started talking about, well, instead of paying one guy 6 million players, it might be better to have 3 million guys or 2 million guys, and just making statements like that. Then he took a step back. Kevin Gilmore came in. We all know what happened with him. And now with the new president, Gabriel Gervais, who's a legend at CF Montreal, he was also the vice president at Deloitte, which is like a big accounting firm in Canada, I think in the States as well. So now he's the new president, and he's really made it a point to get back to the roots of the club, get back to the history. And him and Saputo, he's been a lot more positive, not making rash emotional statements. He even showed up at the tailgate a couple of weeks ago to just chill with the fans.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, tasting the nachos, having some beer with them, just chatting, having a good time,
That's really neat. That's really neat.
I'm happy about that. And, they made it no secret. Some people say he's cheap, but there would be no professional football in Montreal without Joey Saputo. And they always said, if we're not against getting a third DP or a second DP, or like Bjorn Janssen is a DP for financial reasons, but they're not opposed to getting a third DP if the fit is right.
Right. He won't rush into a bad signing because of the name.
Unlike, I mean, no offense to Atlanta, but I find that they kind of just sign DPs just for the sake of signing DPs, and they don't necessarily look for the right guy. They've been looking to replace Al Moran since he left, and then they have not been able to.
Thiago Almada is probably the closest they've got, but when you sign somebody like South American Player of the Year, Pity Martinez, just because he's South American Player of the Year, Pity Martinez, it doesn't work. Ezekiel Barco, who is the most expensive signing in the league at the time, just for him to show up and have 4 goal contributions over the 3 years that he was there before he blew up.
Well, he had a good season last year. He had a great season last year.
So he ended well, but it took him 3 years to get going before he left. And then he was
a young guy, though. He came in at 18, 19.
Yeah, he was very young. Yeah. But again, right, so and we had that conversation too, was he also wasn't the right fit for the league, right? If you come into the league and then your first instinct when you leave is to badmouth it, is that something that we need? So
P.T. Martinez? He badmouthed the league?
No. Ezekiel Barco. He was talking about how MLS was not a place where you can compete, kind of what we were talking about before, where the losing doesn't really matter. And then he went to River Plate, where he plays 4 good teams a year, and the rest of them he can walk over. And we had that conversation, but same deal, right? Do we need those people? But I agree with you, right? Signing people based off a name doesn't work. You need to build a system, right? Red Bull did that for a long time, where we had 2 designated players, never filled the third spot, only filled them with when one went out, the other came in type of thing. And it allowed us to create this identity. This is who we are. We're playing energy drink football. We're going to get it high. We're going to press you high. We're going to win it high. We're going to score. Right.
That's why you guys concede a lot at the end of the games.
Correct.
You just tire yourself out.
Yep. And like I said, then that allowed us to build an identity of, okay, we need to have strong one-on-one defenders for the end of these games. Sean Nealis comes in as a draft pick from Massapequa. I played with a buddy on my club team in high school back on Long Island, who played at Massapequa with Sean and Dylan Nealis. So watching him come in was like, oh, that's super neat. I thought it was awful year one, but they allowed him to develop, right? Instead of saying, oh, I'm just going to go sign a DP and cut you loose, they allowed him to develop. He's a top 10 center back in the league this year, right? If you just go sign people, you don't find that. So